YouTube, how's everybody doing? Welcome back to another video after another Arsenal win, 1-0 over Crystal Palace at Selhurst Park. 6 points out of 6. Couldn't have asked for a better start. It was a really grinded out type of win, and Arteta himself acknowledged it's the type of wins type of games he loves to see his side grind out and really just back against the wall for 30, 35 minutes. Just pull through, struggle through, and come out the other side, which Arsenal did just that. Great character shown, and something good to just build on, and the players to be able to draw from in future matches this season. First half was really the story that we're used to seeing now with Arsenal. We were dominant in possession, couple chances, couple corners. Really, the notable chances were from Eddie Nketiah, where he slipped in off of a fortuitous bounce that led him through a turn and then a post that was just unlucky to hit that. He did everything so well against a couple Palace defenders to get into that position. Showed some strength and just slightly off balance in the end. Just not quite enough to put Arsenal up 1-0. And then also a chip that went a little bit over the bar after a beautiful passage of play headlined by Declan Rice, who had an unbelievable match. We'll get into his rating later on. But really, you'd like to see something come of our effort in the form of a first half goal, but really just wasn't the case. And moving on to the second half, Eddie made sure we got the chance of the match when he won a foul and a penalty, rather, in the box when Johnston came in off of a really quick set piece, low pass into the box, and Party did a good job to really set a bit of a pick to open that up, and Eddie secured what would be the chance of the match in a game-winning penalty by our captain, Martin Odegaard. Getting into the player ratings. Starting in net, I think Aaron Ramsdale had a solid performance. You got to give him, I think, a 7.5 for this match. Look, any clean sheet is an automatic 7. Away from home, got to bump it up slightly, in my view, especially in that hostile environment. He stood tall. Were there a couple instances where maybe you wanted a stronger hand, a glove on that, a better parry, or maybe a better ball over the top distribution-wise? Maybe, but all in all, 7.5. I think you got to honor Ramsdale's clean sheet, dictating from the back. Tomiyasu. Ridiculous sending off after a second yellow for a ghost mystery tackle against Ayew. And it's tough and brutal and totally unwarranted. But ultimately, I think a 6.5. It's really harsh myself, but I think it's the body of work that goes in over the 60 minutes leading up to that point where the ref, he sees kind of how the game's being dictated, or maybe some struggles or constant pressure that when Palace had the ball that Tomiyasu was under. And for that, the accumulation and that association that the ref, in terms of how he's seen the game, and I think how fans and alike could see the game, 6.5, sending off, just not ideal. But his teammates pulled through. Saliba, another solid performance by him. I think I got to give him an 8 because of the unbelievable recovery tackle and a couple other blocks, key blocks throughout the game where you can just count on him. He's so reliable, and you can take him really against anybody. I think Saliba's just going to come out on top. Ben White, his center back partner, another very, very solid performance by him. Match in, match out, he's one of the mainstays in this squad, which is really great. And easing to say, or puts us fans at ease, knowing that there's other areas maybe where that are more in flux, but our center backs, solid options. Ben White epitomizing that. I think 7.5. He stood tall, held his own, and did what you pretty much could ask of him reasonably. Party, in that similar vein, I think he also gets a 7.5. Look, is he everybody's favorite inverted right back choice? No, by no means. Reality is, we have to trust in Mikel Arteta, and he knows there's an adjustment period to it. He knows there's pros and cons associated with him playing in that inverted role and his lack of pace, but his strength in being able to dominate on the ball, win possession, and be a rock solid presence physically when we have possession, and key winning it back. Where we saw him really flourish, though, in this game, or be very notable in terms of blocking what would be a Palace defender, potentially making it tough for Eddie to generate the game-winning foul and that penalty he won in the box, as well as a potentially stray after a further look on replay. He stuck his leg out a little bit, shin in as a kind of forced a foul there. Did he get away with it? Let me know in the comments. He might have, in my view. It looked pretty dicey, but at the end of the day, he got away with it, and I'm not really going to penalize him for it. Would I have otherwise? Yes, but hey, you can't blame him for it. A 7.5, he held his own. Moving on into the midfield. So, everybody's favorite signing, right? Kai Havertz. But jokes aside, I think there's too many self-fulfilling prophecies that people have out there. People hold him to ridiculous standards and go off of, oh, well, because he didn't get X amount of goals at Chelsea, or, oh, he's already off to no goals in 2 games. He isn't playing as a striker. People are holding him to a Henry, prime R9 type of standard, Twitter standards, if you will. He's shown his workhorse mentality. He won the most duels in the match. You're not going to notice him so overtly every second of every match, but he does that grinder work, that mentality behind the scenes that's key to this side. And I'm not going to punish him and say, oh, he was shy Havertz out there and didn't look a presence. I think solid performance for him. I'll give him a 7. Martin Odegaard. Again, solid performance by him. Captaining our side. I think I got to give him a slightly higher 7.5 because he finished the chance of the match, the only goal that won the match in that penalty that Eddie had won. Now, Declan Rice. Unbelievable performance. All over the pitch. Box to box. As an 8, as a 6. He is showing so quickly why he's worth the $105 million price tag. He is just going to be such a key cog, match in, match out for us in the Prem as he continues to stamp his authority on these games and get man of the match. Can only imagine what it's going to look like in the Champions League. Transitioning into the attack, I think Martinelli, not his best game, not his worst. I think 7 is fair. There was actually a Kai Havertz chance that he had a bit of an angle, albeit steep. If he had taken it first time, who knows what happens? Maybe it puts us up early on. I just think not his best overall, but solid performance. Not the best, not the worst. And I think the same can sort of be applied to Bukayo with a 7 as well. Now, am I being harsh? Maybe, but he's shown he's the best winger in the world, and I think the reality is he went against one of the better young fullbacks in this league in Tyreek Mitchell, and he didn't find it the easiest of times, and not that anybody should or would. He just didn't have, I guess, that worldly of a goal, and maybe it's just this recency bias, but I think we know what he's capable of, and there wasn't really that output, I guess. And is that being harsh? I guess, but Bukayo, solid all in all. 7, solid performance. Eddie, I got to give Eddie a 7.5 because he drew the match-winning chance by getting fouled in the penalty box. And without that, we don't win the game. Were there a couple chances that you wish he would put away in the first half? Yes, but the reality is we know with Eddie, he's not this absolute clinician. He's not the most clinical. He's not completely ruthless, but he's a very, very solid backup rotational striker in this league. And I think because he's just been with Arsenal so long, he gets a bit of a bad rap. And people, similarly to Kai Havertz, just have these narratives and harshly just kind of cast a unreasonable and overly lofty expectation. And if he doesn't get a goal a game, it's like, oh, well, what did he do? Well, he won us a penalty, which won the match in this game. Shout out goes to the 4 subs in Gabriel, Kivior, Zinchenko, Jorginho especially. They held their own and ensured that low block was sturdy and did not allow anything to seep through in the form of a tying concession goal that would have really just put a dent in a really solid performance. And they made sure that didn't happen and pulled through. Thanks for watching, guys. Let me know in the comments who you thought was man of the match, overall player ratings, thoughts on the result as a whole. And if you guys enjoyed this video, drop a like, subscribe, really goes a long way. I appreciate any and all support you guys show toward the Gunner Beat. It's only up from here. We're just getting started. And hey, let me know what you think of my shorts content. Getting that going. Be on the lookout for TikTok, Twitter, growing the presence on other platforms. And we're only going up. Have a great night. Come on, you Gunners.